What is going on, guys? It is Laser here with another weekend video analysis. It's Saturday morning, 9 o'clock a.m., the time that I like to drop these videos. This is pretty much the best time for me to kind of analyze the stock when I'm fresh. I've got lots of energy in the morning. I just finished my coffee. If you hear me stop in between and blow my nose, right now my nose is a little bit runny, so I apologize, but I really am excited to get this video out for you guys and share what I'm seeing. And again, for some of the people that are new here, and I imagine there's going to be a couple new people with all this hype kind of happening with NIO. I'm just a guy who loves charting the stock. I've been wrong in the past before, so again, if you're looking at this, take it with a grain of salt. Do your own due diligence, do your own research. I just like to share my opinion as to where I see it going. If you missed my last week's video, definitely check it out. We kind of were eyeing this zone at $4.44, which it did touch barely by 2 cents. I mean, doing the eye test, you can't even tell. You can barely tell. But if I were to zoom in, you'll see it didn't quite. Close enough. We talked about that. And the reason we talked about that, if you missed my last week video, was essentially the last 100% rally, which was right here to the left, which was a year ago. It consolidated and bounced from the previous high, which was right here. And then it said, boop, it's ready to go. Now, it didn't quite just go in a straight line. You'll notice when it bounced, by the way, it gave you a little bit of a consolidation and a couple of red candles before it went boom. So now I wanted to bring your attention here, you guys, to my velocity indicator here. You'll notice how similar they look now. Take a look. So if I do this, notice how we can now noticeably and visibly see a pullback. We weren't able to see that even when it was giving you like that red, those couple of red days. And that's why last week I was like, guys, we're still going to see this pullback. It's coming. I feel like for last week's analysis, we really did nail that. We're not always nailing the analysis, but I think last week we really nailed it. And if you were following me on Twitter, because we drop tweets on a week-to-week basis, sometimes inter-week, I mean, I tweeted pretty much on this day when it hit a low of 450. I was tweeting and I said, guys, we're about 10-15 cents away from a major level. It's probably not a bad time to look at NIO. And what did it do the very next morning? It went up 8%. It went up another, like, it's now moving. It's moving. Now on the 2-hour time frame, I'm gonna erase this. I'm gonna show you something here. I was tweeting about this. The image actually looked like this. It never actually broke this velocity when I made that tweet. And I was explaining to you guys, like, guys, I knew eventually this thing was going to crack and it was going to break. And I said, it's getting low. And anyone that managed to buy that dip that day on that tweet that I made, congratulations. And it made an explosive move. Higher high, higher low. It broke the 200-day moving average. And I think it did that in post-market, which is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal that it broke the 200-day moving average. And that's another thing that I was tweeting about. I believe that what's going to stop NIO from pushing out higher was breaking that 200-day moving average. Just, it tells me that it's done kind of pulling back. There might be another little mini pullback. Now, if I were to analyze the last rally, because this in my opinion was the most realistic rally to analyze it, when it broke the 200-day moving average, it was right here. It still gave you a little bit of a pullback and a bit of like chop before it went boom. Now, I don't necessarily think they're, to be honest, where I think we are, if we were to compare the two, I think we're right here. I think we're right here. Notice how it went up. It still gave you that higher low. There was your low. There was that higher low. So it did give you that pop. Actually, that could be your higher low right there. Yeah, that could be your higher low. That was it. That was your higher low right there at 472. So maybe a few more days of, like, how many days was this? after it broke the 200-day moving average before you got that big move. It took 3 days. So in the middle of the week, we're going to get that huge sonic boom move to the up. That, like, how big of a move was that? A 30% move? Let's go. That would be exciting. I think there's going to be some exciting things happening next week. I'm very, very, very excited to watch and see what's going to happen next week. Now, I don't want to get super duper excited because there is one thing that I see a little bit different, and I'm going to point that out too, just in case. It's just an off case. Notice that was our first breakout. I want to go back to this rally that we're comparing it to. I know it's not quite the same, but you did get a first breakout, which didn't happen quite in the same manner. But it gave you a second breakout before it decided to explode. And to me, there's a small possibility and a small chance that you could see it do this. Oh, more like this, sorry. It could do this, which would be kind of that same setup. I'd give you a second pullback. So it would give you, like, starting Monday, you would get one more revisit, and perhaps it does want to potentially swing back down low and just get people, because it's going to look a lot like, oh, that's a lower high, it's done. And if it did this, that I think would actually, like, freak a lot of people out. It would be unusual because it did just broke the 200-day moving average, but the move, sometimes I see that when it makes a big move under the 200 move and it just barely breaks above it. The huge move kind of already happened, and you kind of might you might see that. So I'm not laying that out, but what you would see is you would see it kind of do this. And granted, the bears are the loudest on Twitter. They're the ones who are going to say, "Told you so, it's over, da 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 da, ha 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 ha." Man, but I would imagine it would have to be very, very, very quickly if it did that. It would be like something like, "Whoa, what the hell? Why did it do that?" And then off it goes. Off it goes. If it did do that, I think as a bull, most of you guys are just sick and tired. You just want to see this go up. I mean, so do I. So that's what I'm thinking. Breaks 550 with force. You go into 580, maybe 6. Little small pullback into 550. Once that claims a support, 20-30% move to the upside. That's what I see. I see like this big boom, and it's going to complete this huge cup. So I guess the real goal here to me, from a technical perspective, if you're a complete bull, you're going to want it to come. You want this rally to clear 780. You want it. Because what it's going to do from a technical perspective, it's going to do this. It's going to finish that bowl or that cup, and it comes up. You'll get that. You'll definitely get that handle. And we all know one of the most bullish chart patterns is a cup and handle. That is like the most bullish. I mean, in hindsight, it would probably give you one more back test, and then it would just go insane. That's why $7 and clearing that high, it creates that technical setup, that cup and handle setup. That's what you would want to see. My biggest reservation right now is I'm looking at 550. It's definitely shown some signs of hesitation. If I were to compare this rally to last year's 2024 rally, it's slightly slower. It's not as fast. It's not as violent, even though I know it may seem like that way. But like, I can measure it, and I can tell you It's in fact not. It's not as fast. Where is that trend line? We'll get rid of that. There we go. Let me just illustrate that for you. So here's the on the 2 hour time frame. I'm gonna draw a horizontal line here. This is the 2 hour time frame on this rally. Now we're gonna go back to last year's rally, which was right here. It peaked higher slightly, so it was arguably there was a lot more velocity and speed to that move. Not only that, it managed to reach all the way into 550. Right now we're not quite there, so be cautious. And that's why I'm saying, as a bull, on the way up, you want it to shatter 550. You want that to shatter, little dip, and boom. You want that shatter. But there's a possibility that you get that move into 550. It's a possibility, and it rejects. So you gotta cross that bridge when we get there. You gotta be very careful. Hang with me for one more second. I just gotta blow my nose really quick. So 550s, like, it's important, very, very important for us for NIO to get for NIO to get above that. Now the fact that it's already broken above the 200-day moving average is very encouraging. The fact that, like, it looks super duper similar to these last 2 rallies. In fact, not just this rally, but this rally as well. And you'll notice, and this is not like hopium, but if you look here, you got a big sonic boom on that when the consolidation period was over, it boomed up. When this consolidation period was over, you got like one of the biggest moves. So what we want, I mean, eventually you want to get above 780, in my opinion, a 55% move. Can you do that? Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I want it to see a crush 550 completely on this next move. And if it doesn't, and if it does something like this, you guys, where it just tags it and you get a massive rejection off that, that's all the reason in the world for it to consider to, like, okay, are we going to be retesting 409? Is this thing going to want to cool off before it tries again? And if it cools off, this is probably one of the most important pieces that I can share to you, especially if you're new in NIO. I talk about this week over week, but I don't expect you guys to watch all my videos. For those of you guys who are new in NIO, NIO goes on one of these big rallies about twice per year. And every 3 to about 4 months, and sometimes it's 5 in rare instances, but it's usually 3 to 4 months, the downtrends are over. Now, obviously, we want to break that, but it's been held true since IPO. Now, I won't illustrate it because I've illustrated it in so many other of my videos. But if you want to go back and count all of these downtrends, they've all kind of bottomed after 3 or 4 months. Now, if we go back here, if and when this rally doesn't, and it will, after the next big move, I think you're going to be getting close to a top before it cools off. I anticipate a 3-month at minimum cool off. So if we were here, and that's like 10 days, let's just say we're 10 days from the top. This is important to plan. Got to plan this. Let's just say we're 10 days from, maybe we're 2 weeks from the top, and we reach the top at August 15th. I'm just saying, just in general. Your next big rally is probably not till the new year. So let's just say we get it. Let's say we get it. I'm going to be super optimistic here. We get that move. you're gonna get something kind of dramatic, like whoa, the run's over, whoa, and it's gonna stretch out until January before it gets going again. It'll be 3 months. Like what I'm trying to tell you guys is this is the behavior of this stock. Where is it? Date range. This is the behavior of it. Approximately like 90, sometimes 118 days. Just look from here to here, 180 bars. Like it's going to bring you right to like January and potentially January. And I can guarantee if you look right now in the January option chain, which it always on every single stock, it's probably loaded. So you're going to get this big rally. And after that, it's going to be like, I believe you're going to get like this consolidation, like, oh my God, like what's happening? And then you'll get another big move. So that is something to keep in mind. And again, how can I predict 6 months and a year in advance? I mean, I really can't. All I can tell you is historically, that is what it does. The statistics are damning. Nearly 100%, with the exception of like one rally, have all taken at minimum 3 months to clear up. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Some people are investors. 3 months is nothing. And truly, in the stock market, 3 months is like a snap of a finger, a blink of an eye. But some people are in this play and they're looking to just scalp it and get like a quick trade. So if you're in this and you know that after this run is done, because if you look, by the way, and I want to really hit this point home, when and if we get this move, which is the second part of this move, this is how I anticipate it playing out. Take a look. So it comes, maybe you get a little bit of a consolidation and it pulls up. Maybe it comes up that high. Let's make that yellow now. What's going to happen is eventually, and let's make this white real quick. Whatever, it'll do something like that. And I literally anticipate something similar like this. And the most important thing that I'm going to point out to you guys, last year and every other run, look at this yellow line. It made like a double top, but the yellow line, and I'm going to make this arrow big to really emphasize this. You see how it actually made a lower high, which also signaled like this was your last hurrah and last top before it kind of came down. Now let's come here. Ugh, I really made a big mess of this chart, so I got to clear it. But keep an eye out for that, because I think whatever you get here is likely going to be this next big move is going to be it. Is it going to be? I don't think 11%. That just seems pretty weak. That seems like a pretty weak move. I want it to crack 780 so bad because it'll make that setup, and I think it's possible. I think it's very possible that you could get like that big explosive move. 52%. Yeah, like similar, but not quite. It might have to overextend to that. Let's see. You would need some catalysts to kind of launch it over the top. Something exciting is happening. So if you're a bull, you should be excited. You should be pumped up, but you also should plan and prepare for when this thing does top, right? This is important. Very, very, very important to kind of pay attention to this. And I imagine, notice this little teal line. Both times as it cracked, it needed to cool off. That's probably where you want to get. There or slightly above. That's probably a point in time where it's like it could be nearing a point where it needs to cool off. These are things that are important to consider when you're going long the stock and you want to go for this. And there are some people on Twitter who are calling like, they're saying like, yeah, it's going to 16, and they're saying it's going to 20. Yeah, sure, maybe it does, but it's not going to do that in one shot, in one go. I don't think so. I've watched this for 2 years for a long time, and I know when this run's done, it's toast for 3 months. It's completely toast. Toast for 3 months. So keep that in mind. All right. That is the behavior of this stock. And if it breaks that behavior, I mean, then I'm wrong. Okay. And I've been wrong before. And I've told you guys before, this is just my opinion. All right. So next week and potentially the week after, I would anticipate the top of this NIO rally coming in. And we're getting close because we just broke that 200-day moving average. There we go. That sums up my analysis with NIO. I do expect a big move kind of coming real soon here. And I see it playing kind of one of two ways. Literally by like Wednesday, I see it kind of out breaking above 550 and pushing. This is not ruled out where you get one more dip and it would be a V dip. It would be like this. That's the second way I see it playing out. And the third way I see it playing out is it slowly comes up to 550, gives you double top, and then it's over. I don't actually, this is the least likely scenario, but you got to be flexible and you got to watch that 550 target when it comes to that. Okay. It's not as much speed or velocity as the last time it had a 100% rally. There's some hesitations there. So that is something to keep top of mind. Baba. How is Baba doing? Okay. Lots of drawings here. Take a look. Baba looks beautiful. I love Baba here. You can never go wrong with Baba. Baba is a solid, fundamentally sound, proven strong stock. 1, 2, broke out, pull back. It's ready to launch. Baba, I think is going to freaking go ballistic. 140 at minimum. Let's see it go 180. I think that's and if you look at the last two big rallies, this was the most recent one. It went completely parabolic, and this was another one. Completely vertical parabolic. We haven't gotten that vertical parabolic move yet, and it's giving you that pullback, which is normal after breaking the 200 moving average. But more importantly, for Baba, it made a higher low, barely, but you can see it's curling. It made a higher low on that 200-day moving average, which is beautiful. You'd love to see that. And if you're trying to bull, I think that's going to end up really, 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 really nicely. This is the dip to buy for Baba, and I truly think Baba is going to be an incredible buy. Is that bottom completely in? I think I was calling it last week, like. It would hold 118. It didn't. It slightly broke below that. Perhaps it gaps up and you get back above 118. I'm not worried about that. This looks crazy. To me, something big's about to blow here on Baba. To the upside. Baidu. Okay. From 95 down to 86. That was a big pullback. And I think I talked about this, guys, last week. I said, usually when I see things like this rise, it's waiting for that big, big, big drop. Now that it's got that big, big, big drop and the oomph drop is out the way, it could be ready for that next leg up. Baidu, the goal here is to get into, like, if you're looking for long-term price target projections, you could see it could get insane. But for Baidu, I think a modest target would be 145. If this does want to go. I don't want to spend too much time on Baidu here. I think I've already spent way too much time on NIO. So let's try and cut this video short. The Dixie, I think it tapped $100 not long ago. It is smoking. Remember how it had like this, and for those of you who've been watching all along, it had this big oomph drop right here where it bottomed out here. It's now starting its rally. Clearly, it made that big last shakeout. Made this one shakeout, made another shakeout here, but it's pushing with strength. It hit 100. I anticipate it going to potentially, I mean, in the near term, 101 and 104. That's where I see the Dixie going. It's so oversold. And in fact, you do a fib on that. Your golden pocket's 105. Hang Seng Index. Is this where I have my charts? I think so. Jeez. Okay. It's still good. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, guys. It didn't quite nearly hit the top, and it gave you this pullback, but this pullback is for the bulls, in my opinion here. And the reason why, and huge move is going to have a huge pullback and consolidation. Look at that. It's going to pull back, and it's going to look good. It's going to make its move. Going to do this. Maybe you guys don't see it, but higher low, higher high, higher low. Let's go. I love it. This to me, I think is like is a shakeout. Shakeout. I'm not too worried about this one, and it's still poised to make a higher low. 26 potentially. You could even potentially see 30. Something big is coiling here. It's never done this for this long. If you look, this is the longest coiling here. Usually it just goes boom, and it goes boom, and even here. This is the last time we had this massive coiling action. And it started this big thing. So this to me, I think is something big. Something big is building for China. That's what I see. I'm going to quickly touch on the SPY. I know some of you guys don't really care about it, but I think it's doing great. Some people are saying like, wow, it's done. It's done. It still hasn't made a lower low. Notice this. Still holding that low here. It's like, yeah, 2 big red days. We've seen things like that, like 2 big red days. We've seen things like that where it's dropped and then immediately reverses. It hasn't even broke the 200-day moving average yet. And you'll notice before this rally is toast, this thing, like if you were looking at this, by the way, where it went like in a similar fashion, it took a while for it to get down there. So I'm not even going to talk about SPY. That's basically it. That's my analysis here. I got to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you watched this whole video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and again, I appreciate all of you guys who come and watch my video and give me the thumbs up and comment. Hope you guys all. And again, just to recap on NIO, I do see a NIO making the next leg up higher. It's coming. It's coming. And I painted it. Let's get 780. That's optimistic, but I wanted to see it crack 780. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys. Hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and take care, guys.